We are back. Hey, it is season 3. And I am excited for this episode. I got my little brother in Christ in the building. Also got Mr. Robbie back here producing, and my sister, Miss Meredith, here for another Kingdom Conversation. And I just love how God has crossed our paths. Many of you don't know Mr. Jalen Momo is our guest today, and it's because of a kingdom mindset that has led to a kingdom connection so many years ago that has led to a kingdom relationship, and we get to talk about some kingdom impact today. Yes. Listen, if you're watching this, we would love for you to like, share, subscribe. Maybe this is a blessing to you. We'd love for it to be a blessing to someone else, because keeping the kingdom isn't just a saying, it's a lifestyle, and it's better if you die. And today, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Returner, my little brother, Jalen Momo is in the building.
Yo. What is going on, everybody?
What you doing?
I'm excited to be here.
A lot has changed since our first episode.
Oh,
And
yes.
we didn't even drop our second because we had one before this. And so after that episode,
Wow.
there was something that you got to be a part of.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone gets to experience this. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. But I'd like for you to just kind of start out. There may be some new kingdom keepers that are watching this and kingdom seekers that may not know, they may not have went back and watched the first episode to know who Jalen Momo is.
Yeah.
But man, we've had some cool stuff. You got to be a part of some cool stuff. We got to do something last week where your grandmother was there, my mom was there, and we got to take a picture like this. We so much.
Yeah.
Probably won't cover it all today, but there are some things we do need to highlight and just talk about so that the world can know how far God's reach is getting outside of Mansfield, Texas.
That's very true.
And so give them a quick just rundown who you are, where you're from, where'd you go to school, and how'd you end up back in Mansfield, in a 2-3 minute, however long it takes you. Do your thing. Do your thing.
What's up, guys? My name is Jalen Momo, also known as Mo Speaks. I am now a area rep for FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, but you probably know me as Mo Speaks too as well. A entrepreneur and speaker too as well, and really just doing the Lord's work right now. It has been a blessing. It has been a blessing of just how much God has really just transformed my life over the past year.
Here we go. In part, I thought about this morning. So I'm getting dressed, and I had a flashback to the first young adult meeting. Robbie don't know this because we talked. Did you tell him about the text you sent me?
What, this morning?
No. The text you sent me with the vision board.
Oh, no, I didn't. No, I didn't.
So the word that I gave the young adults is what?
Committed. Yeah.
He sends me a vision. So me and him, what was it, a couple years ago, 3 years ago?
It was probably at least 3.
Hey, I need you, let's write some stuff down.
Yeah.
Write some stuff down. And he sends me a picture. I totally forgot about it. I'm like, what is that? I'm looking. And he's got like is it 5 of them, 4 of them, 3?
It was like 3. Yeah, it was 3 at the time, yeah.
And tell him about that real quick, because with that statement you made talks about, so that's a kingdom mindset you had in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're seeing the kingdom impact, because we're gonna be going fast today. But I just want to give some context.
I got you.
To what happened what was it? You said 3 years ago?
3 years ago. I was in college.
3 years ago, he's in college. Calls me and says, hey, I'm in town. Can we meet? We go to
First Watch. Yeah.
All right.
Shout out First Watch.
Shout out. Hey, if y'all want to be an official sponsor, hit your boy up. We sat down for probably 2 or 3 hours, because that's usually how long that takes, right?
Yeah.
Discipleship moment. I don't know what's going to come from it. Because, a lot of times I encourage you to do things, and I encourage you to stop doing things.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but I always say, hey, go seek the Lord. And so he does. And so just give us context real quick, because the statement you made, before we jump into what God is doing, people need to understand when this started.
Man. So after we had that conversation, I remember I had to go work out. And I remember I was in a rush, and I didn't know we were going to sit there for that long. For one, I know exactly what day, because I just came back. I think it was either from the winter break or spring break. But when I got back to college, man, you told me to really just think about, this season of life that I'm in. And as I know it was in the beginning of the year, so it wasn't necessarily a vision board, but I wrote down myself and then wrote down words that describe, just me and things that I wanted to achieve. And a lot of that is coming to pass right now when we're talking about, mentoring in a team, speaking to colleges, speaking to athletic teams.
Stop. Give them context.
Okay.
Like literally, you wrote those words down.
Yeah. Yeah. I was in my room. I remember I was in my room, and this is at the time when I started doing my speaking and all that stuff too as well, because the reason why it was 3 of them is because I was coming up on my 2 years. Last time with you that we were here, I was coming up on my 2 years of the Mo Speaks, Momo Mondays, all of it. And when I got down to it, I was like, man, where do I really want to go? Or where does God really want me to go? And I just started writing. And for me, writing has always been an outlet, always been something that I'm able to connect with my words and knowing that those words have weight. So when I made one for myself. I made one for football because that was another thing that was in that. It was football, and really because I was going into my last year. It's like, okay, in my last year of football, in my entire life, this is what God, what do you want from this, right? And then going into that, I had one for the Mo Speaks too as well. And Jalen Momo, which is going to be another big thing that God got to your boy. But it was really amazing just to see that all those things that's on there.
Can I share this with him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All those 3 things that were on there, I was just like, man, and it's been a minute because when I had to come back home, is that I forgot that they're underneath my bed because I hadn't had time to put them up on my walls. But then I looked one day when we did this year's, and now seeing it, and now seeing all the stuff that's coming to fruition, and all the stuff that is coming to pass, that happened 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
3 years
and
ago.
So, and I roll in on a mission on a Thursday night. And I was like, look, the Lord clearly gave me a word for y'all this week, this semester.
Yeah.
It ain't my word, because my word for young adults would have been devoted too.
Yeah.
But that wasn't my word that the Lord gave me for the students.
Yeah.
That was the word from the Lord for the students. In that moment, I said, hey, I've been wrestling with this verse and this word of committed. I don't even, and I even shared, I was like, I don't know what that looks like for each person in this room. And so looking through his visions, like you find all these words of committed, and like it's wild.
Yeah.
And then everything that you'll see in there, you stepped into.
Yeah.
And you're stepping into.
Yeah.
Like you're taking territory in some of the areas that you're speaking in. You've had an opportunity to go and speak to teams. You've been like, it's wild.
Yeah.
In fact, you got a chance to be a part of a championship team.
Yeah. Shout out North Crowley.
North Crowley.
Yeah.
So you got a chance to travel with them.
Mm-hmm.
You got a chance to be a part of what God did through that team from the beginning.
Yeah.
Right. And so, what a cool journey. Not knowing, because the reality is you didn't know that was going to come. Like when you're looking at that, because when you sent it to me, I, if I'm honest, I was like, what is he sending? And then I had to zoom in. I'm just like, what is that?
Because again, you got to think about the context about the time period that I was going through. Is that I'm graduating out of college, trying to figure out what's my next step. Ministry is presenting itself and it's strong. Now I'm trying to figure out, do I stay in Oklahoma or do I come back home? And all this is transpiring in probably about 3 months. All these changes.
There's something else that's going on at that time too, and we had to have a conversation about that.
What?
A relation shift.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
That too.
A relation shift in a relationship.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, man, you fast, pray, seek the Lord. Like, you got a lot of things you trying to, because in that moment, I think when we were talking was, you have to consider when you have a lot of different areas in your life that are changing. You got to be very careful not to let your flesh make you make decisions.
Oh yeah.
Out of convenience and comfort.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of decisions to make.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
And so proud of you because you made some tough decisions.
Yeah, had to. And I think it was just, and like you said, I think we sometimes when we are facing seasons where we have to make a lot of decisions, our flesh will tell us what it wants, but we don't stop and think and grab our hold of our flesh and say, you know what? No, you're not in command. One, the Spirit is, and asking the Spirit, asking God, what do you want? Because again, whatever you want, then that's what's going to happen, and that's what transpired. So,
have you thought about, had you not submitted to the Lord's plan and you did your will? Have you thought about that?
If I didn't,
because if you didn't, because I remember what you was wrestling with. You wouldn't be here right now because
that's true.
Be in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have been able to walk, huh?
No, I have not thought of if I didn't.
Like you wouldn't have been able to walk with some of these young men that needed you at a very critical time.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was 2 or 3, but I know that there was like 2 young men that we talked about that were walking through a very difficult season on that team.
Yeah.
Was it 2? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Matter. And we're not going to say their names, but I know that they needed you, and God put you with that team in this season, but brought you out of a season to get you ready to be able to be available for them in the season that they needed. So I can sit back and see it, but sometimes I know, when things are going, it's hard to see that, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other cool things that God has allowed you to be a part of and experience. Like teams getting equipment, things like that. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we partnered up with Equipped, which was they're amazing. What they're doing, what they do is it's a nonprofit organization, so everything is donated, and they team up with just different athletes. And Stacy Hollinger, I think I said his name right, but he is he's amazing. He has a heart for baseball students because he used to play. And then he's just have people that he's connected to, but he saw the need that needs to be met in Fort Worth, and especially when you have these schools who don't have equipment or they don't have the finances to get new equipment. You got 10 years worth of equipment, and again, when you have schools that have that, it's like, man, if you get them something new, and like Deion Sanders, when you feel good, you play good, but be able to bless somebody else. And to be able to pick up a new bat and see those kids like, oh, I got hope now. It's hope what's getting to them. It's not the equipment. It's hope. Right. Because now they say, okay, we are just like everybody else now. Now let's go ball, and just to be able to see those boys go after it, it's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, just think, if you in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and me and him was talking relationships and stuff. He's like, what do I do with this? I'm like, look, what has the Lord called you to do? If you're supposed to be in a relationship and if that's supposed to happen, he's gonna work that out.
Yeah.
Like, that's the least of your concern.
Yeah.
He's gonna bring you the right one at the right time.
Yeah.
Right. But the question is, are you in his will? Are you? Because we even talked about the difference between being single and being content.
Yeah.
Look, what does God want right now?
That's true.
What does he want? He wants your all, right?
Yeah.
So I'm proud of you because I know that, like, I challenge you to fast, which can get weird, and even the Bible tells us, hey, in Matthew, Jesus is kind of trying to explain that there's the religious way to look at it, right? And it's almost like checking a box, right? And then you have I think the Pharisees, they had their kind of way of looking at it.
Yeah.
And then you have the King's way, Jesus' way.
Yeah.
And people shouldn't be able to tell that you're fasting. You shouldn't be in the gym like slump, like, oh man, I'm fasting, so I can't get this 225 up. They shouldn't be able to tell, right? Yeah. We shouldn't be grumbling and complaining and look disheveled, is what it says. We should be fasting to empty ourselves so that whatever he's trying to put in, something can happen with it, right? But when we're fasting for show, or we're fasting to get a pat on the back for the applause or approval of man, we're not doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
It can impact our posture to be in his presence.
That's true.
And so I challenged you. I said, hey, man, I need you to fast. I need you to pray, um, and find your space. Find that time, that alone time. Just get with him and sit with
Yeah.
him. And that's something you do really well. Like that's something you've adopted, and it's something that you've been consistently doing.
Yeah.
Talk about that, because I think for those that may be watching this, athletes, non-athletes, students, young adults, um, our seasoned adults at your age, most people think that, that's for the super
Hmm.
religious seasoned saints. But it can benefit
Anybody,
anybody.
any believer.
Right. So talk about
Yeah,
that time that
man,
and it looks different for everybody, but
it does.
we talked about this. I was like, hey, you gotta figure that out. Like, go to God, figure out what that looks like for you,
Yeah.
and then commit to it.
So like for me, in this, and again, I think it was the seasons that I saw myself getting into. That again, going from college now to a young adult life, moving back home, being in Texas, doing the job I'm doing the ministry that I'm doing. It's like there are certain things that you have to do in order to do those things, right? And alone time is one of those important key factors. Because if I don't get in my word, if I don't have that time, my whole day is off.
So the impact.
Yeah.
So okay, so let's go to the book. Jesus finds out that John the Baptist is beheaded.
Mm.
Devastating news,
Yeah.
right? The first thing he does before he steps into a ministry moment is he goes alone.
Mm.
But he often, I mean, that's not the only time. He often, the Bible will tell us, he often retreats to be
Yeah.
alone with God.
Yeah.
Often, like he is very intentional about making sure he's having a kingdom connection.
Yeah.
That's a kingdom relationship before there's kingdom impact.
Yeah.
Too often we go from the kingdom like situation or conversation
Mm-hmm.
and rush into the kingdom impact.
Yeah.
We,
Yeah.
we try to handle serving. We serve out of an empty vessel,
Mm.
which
Yeah.
then we serve with not a kingdom mindset. We serve with a culture's way of like, we can be callous,
Yeah.
right? We can have like a callous heart, but Jesus shows us that, and so you've adopted this, and you've even taught some of the students, like, hey, and even you've shared it with some of your young adults, like, this is what I do.
Yeah.
Like, then there's a question I think you even asked. I heard somebody say you asked them this question. What's your
Is there a secret place?
secret place? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
kind of like that too.
Yeah, so for me, man, God has done something amazing with me. Or not, I'm not trying to boost myself up or anything like that. He's revealed something amazing to me, and it's this place that I have proclaimed and declared is my secret place.
Mm.
Um, and I say those words because those words are powerful. When you declare something, then that no and is declared before God, and He's allowed that, so no one else can get into that. Nobody else can intervene into that. Nobody else can try to make their way into that or force, because it's just me and God. And that place that I go to, now go into worship and able to access it when I'm praying, or able to access it when sometimes where I just need to stop and be still. And it's amazing because, and again, I'm a very visual type of person. So I drew this place up, and it's hanging in my room right now. Like, I drew it up, everything. And for me to be able to see it, not in my mind, but physically see it, and if I'm having a bad day, go to that, and I have it, and it's in the brain. It's like it's in my body, and it's in my mind, and it's a place where I can be at peace, where it's just me and Him, and I can really resonate with that place. That's where I go and be able to have that time where I can sit and really just be, okay, God, what do you want from this? What do you want? What are you trying to teach me right now? What are you trying to speak to me right now? What are the things that I'm not seeing? Because again, when you get in your secret place, it's just you and Him, but He shows you everything that you need to know. So it's a very And I advise all the believers and anybody, go find your secret place, find somewhere where you can really get alone with God, if it's physically, and then ask Him to reveal that place in your mind too as well. So,
Man, it's so good. It's so good. I think I might have referred to this before. I'm trying to find it in my notes. So a great book. Let me see if I can find it. John Mark. I think that's his name. Comer?
Yeah, John Mark Comer.
Practicing the Way, I think is the name of this. Yes, John Mark Comer. He gives these, let me see if I can find it, these 9 practices.
Mm.
Sabbath.
Yeah.
Solitude. Prayer.
Mm.
Fasting. Scripture. Community. Generosity. Service. Witness. Now, I see everything backwards. Not everything. Some things. So as I was going through this, read the book, and I was like, you know what? The reason why sometimes our witness is weak and why our service to others does not have the impact it should have, the reason why sometimes we can't be generous or we don't want to be in community is because we lack the ability to truly understand Scripture.
Yeah.
We don't fast enough.
Mm.
Our prayer life doesn't have a priority, and that comes from solitude and Sabbath.
Yeah.
And your secret place, your sacred secret place,
Yeah.
is when you quiet the noise and you find the ability to enter into the peace and presence of God.
Yeah.
So that the word of God can begin wrestling with your heart
Yeah.
and feeding your spirit. And so, like that book just came to mind as you was talking about that, because I truly believe we have to have our secret place. Like I start with mine first thing in the morning, you know. I have to have that place, but I also have that place at night. Like I don't call mine the secret place, but I like the way that you call, what you call, I call mine kind of more of the sacred. It's a sacred moment, just
Yeah.
sacred time. But I like that. We're going to call that a kingdom. You're able to tap into kingdom secrets because you have a secret place,
Mm. Yeah.
And so, but I truly believe the earlier you adopt that as a follower of Christ, just finding that time of solitude with the Lord,
Yeah.
will help you whenever you're having a bad day, or maybe God just wants to reveal something. Maybe He just wants to heal something in you.
Yeah.
And so it's been beautiful just to watch how much impact you've had for the kingdom in Crowley, Dunbar, Fort Worth, just this vision board that you have, and tell us a little bit about you've come into FCA. You're doing some great things. Obviously, you've been a part of FCA. Our relationship, our kingdom relationship started
Yeah.
before FCA, but really was developed.
Yeah.
We had a kingdom connection that then led to a kingdom relationship because of FCA. But there are just some things that God is unlocking and doing through your submission.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit. Just share with our kingdom keepers, our viewers, just something that, man, you feel like, man, like God, like I've seen this, and this is just something that kind of blew my mind.
So a lot of people, and this is something that came straight to my mind as soon as you said that. It's my name. So a lot of people will call me Mo or Momo, or that's just, just a common name, right? It's some people say it's a cool last name. Some people think I'm related to the actor, Momoa, whatever, right? But I tell, and it's crazy because I remember exactly when I started to go by Mo, because a coach called me Mo, and he was like, all right, I'm gonna call you Momo because I call everybody by their last name, right? That's what PE coaches do,
Yeah.
right? So by that, people started talking to me more. That's when I started to get out more of my shell. That's when, I was just like, okay, this is Momo. I'm a cool guy, right? Everybody likes to be a part of him or likes to, just to see what he's doing, right? That translates to high school, Mr. kind of like popular, Momo, everybody knows him, okay, cool. But then I'll have somebody from elementary school, right, that I grew up with the entire school call me Jalen. And I'll be like, how do you, like, how you know who I am? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for a minute, it was like, okay, I'm going to create this Mo, right? It's just going to be Mo, right? And people just be like, it's easier because Momo. They'd be like, what? And I was like, just Mo, right? So go throughout college, everybody calling me Momo, Mo, got the whole Momo Mondays, got everything, right? Mo Speaks even gets birthed out of that, right? Everything is Mo, but then I forget about Jalen. And one of the most things that God has done this year, which has blown my mind, like I'm just like, wow, is that when somebody will call me Jalen, and again, I'm think about coming back home where people know you. Right? They know your first. They some people know by your first name. Some people seen you when you was a little kid running around. Right? They know Jalen, and they say, Jalen, what's up? And I'm just like, oh snap! Like, I done forgot about who God has called me first to be. And for a minute, I had to sit there and pause because I'm just like, man, I really thought about my names, and I started to look, man, what does my name even mean? Because I've been going by Mo for so long, I forgot my kingdom identity.
Oh. Okay, stop. Do you remember the day we got into this conversation about the first names in this room on the other side about it was me, you, and another person.
Maybe.
We were talking about first names.
Yeah.
I was like, a lot of times nicknames are okay.
Yeah.
They're okay.
Yeah.
Last names is your legacy.
Yeah.
But God gave us, he spoke to your parent a first name.
Yeah.
That's tied to the legacy for a reason.
Yeah.
That's a kingdom connection.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're careful, we'll allow a nickname to erase the kingdom connection that God spoke through the kingdom relationship of our parents.
Yeah.
And we see this, like, you can see it biblically. Like, my middle name is Jacob. And I went through life as different names because I was embarrassed on my first name.
Yeah.
Right. So I would change it to, because my middle name is Benjamin Jacob. First name's Sylvester. So there's times where I went by BJ. There's times where I went by Ben. And I had to get to a point where I was like, you know what? Who am I?
Yeah.
What's my kingdom identity?
Yeah.
I'm okay with going by Sly.
Mm-hmm.
But if I truly believe the Lord spoke to my parents that my identity, my name is Sylvester.
Yeah.
That I need to receive that, believe it, and walk in that.
Yeah.
And so we were having just a random conversation about first names. And so this is cool to hear this because I don't know that we had this conversation yet.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, I haven't. I don't think I told you yet.
Wow. So expand on that a little bit more.
So I get to a point, and it was over the break. It was over winter break. This winter break. And this is recent. And somebody asked me, man, what does your name mean? I was like, I mean, Mo was like, no, like your actual name, because that person knew my name. And I'm like, okay. So I go look at what it means. And this is another thing that I learned is that, and I look at kind of like the biblical name, like what does a Jalen mean, right? But if you look at the biblical names, is that they were built in Hebrew. In Hebrew, they were built, right? Each word is built, not necessarily pronounced like English.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, so each letter has a meaning, not just the syllables. So I started looking at each letter, and I'm like, okay, this is scary, because that's not scary as God, because it's showing me something I have not seen in a long time, but I portray it out to people. It's calmness, it's tranquil, it's being, I think the next one is, I forgot the last one, but something about being able to step into a place and take over. I forgot that word. But it was almost like God is reminding me again my kingdom identity. But it took him really kind of saying to this year is like, hey, this year you're gonna have to let some stuff go. And I was and in that process, and again, this is God revealing to me about all the things that, again, going from college to ministry, still doing the Momo Mondays, everything. He said,
Mm.
if you want to follow me, you're going to have to let some stuff go. And the Momo Mondays was going on track. We had a clothing brand, had all that stuff last time they were here, right? Selling stuff, selling hats. But it was, and it's somewhat glorifying God, right? It was very surface level, very broad, right? And he said, all right, you're going to have to put a pause on that because the next time you do this, you come to this, is that it needs to be about me, not about you. And before, wait, listen. Before we even get to there, you need to know who you are first, so you're able to run it right and not run
Stop. Oh man, how often do we get into relationships with people, places, or things with culture's identity versus the kingdom identity?
Yeah,
So here I am entertaining something
yeah,
that I have now a soul tied to, person, place, or thing,
yeah,
that potentially become an idol. I'm in a relationship and I don't even know who I am.
yeah, yeah,
I'm working at a job and I don't even know who I am.
mm,
And I'm missing out on the kingdom benefits
yeah,
because I don't know my kingdom identity.
yeah,
I'm in a community with people that could really be blessing me, but really because I don't know my identity, I'm more of an infection to the community than I am
yeah,
an investment to the community.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So that's just the way and I had to wrestle with that because I was just like, I'm like, God, I see I'm doing that, like I do this for you. He's like, no, this is not for me right now.
So let's unpack that a little bit because you
Yeah.
had, I mean, the Momo Monday was successful.
It was.
Well, we're not gonna say is
Oh, it
because
is. It is still.
it's alive. It's still
Yeah.
alive, right?
Yeah,
It may not be you may not be as active on it, but Momo Mondays, man, was thriving.
Yeah.
And what a humble heart to say, you know what, Lord, I will like Matthew, tax collector. You know what? We're gonna set this thing down.
yeah,
I'm gonna follow you, and when you say pick it back up, I'll pick it back up.
yeah,
And I think that just goes to show a level of faith that young adults your age need to see. Like, man,
yeah,
look, Lord said, if the Lord says no to this relationship with Momo Monday,
yeah,
then maybe I need to trust him if he says I don't need to be in this relationship with him or her in this season,
yeah,
right? And so that there in itself is faith, right?
yeah,
That comes from contentment in your relationship with the Lord.
yeah. Yeah, because that's another thing that you taught me. Because again, this is all for the single young adults. Man, in a season where you are alone and I think, and again, this is for young adults because we have friends that get married, we have people that's in relationships, we have people who God has just said, hey, it's your time, right? And for you, that can be very discouraging at times because it's just like, man, God, when are you going to give that to me? And it's like, man, I haven't given to you yet because I'm not done with you right now in your single season. And you need to be content with that. You need to really see why I have you single right now. Because if you were in a relationship, you won't do the work that I need you to do. And then, but hold on, wait. This is going back to kingdom identity, is that even if you didn't know who you were in your kingdom identity when you're single, so now you're figuring out who you are, your kingdom identity. But now when I bring you somebody, you know exactly who you are and they know exactly who they are.
So you're not finding out your identity in the relationship.
No. Yes. Yeah. Because again, some people will get in relationships and it'll be like, okay, I found my purpose. I found the person. I found now my purpose. And it's like, no. It's like God has you for a period of time when you're single because he's trying to consecrate you down, to purify you down so that you know exactly who you are. And what a better time for me, what's your name? What's your name? And now I gotta, okay, God, let's go. Because
Mark I've talked about this verse before. It's like it's interesting to hear you say what's your name. I think it's in Mark. Man, is it Mark 5 or Mark 6? Because we talked about it before. Dude is walking around burial grave. It's Mark 5.
You talking about
And he's howling.
the
cutting,
possessed man? Yeah.
cutting
Yeah.
himself. And Jesus was like, "Hey man,
Yeah, it's 5.
what's your name?" He didn't say, "Why are you cutting yourself?"
Yeah.
He didn't say, "Are you unhealthy? Why are you acting this way? Why are you?" He asked him his name to help this man with his identity.
Yeah.
Was pretty cool being able to watch this past week.
Yeah.
We got to go out and serve all of the teachers and coaches in Mansfield where you went to school at.
Mm-hmm.
We got to give back. We partnered with Texas on Mission, FCA, and some local churches around the area. And so we are so thankful and so grateful just for the partnership.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool to be able to watch you on some campuses where some teachers got to see Jalen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And wow, can you just speak to that? Because we've done it before,
Yeah.
but I've been with you, and I don't know that like they recognized you as much as they did this time.
Yeah.
Like this time, it just seemed like every campus you was at, they was just like,
Yeah.
and they've been watching Mo Mondays. They've been like, it's been, man, this has been that blessed me. So, is there one particular moment that you can kind of speak to? You just like, man, that's just confirmation. God has just really had His hands on me.
There's two. I got
Okay.
There's two.
Give me the two.
So one is Mr. Green at T.A. Howard.
Okay.
Walked in. And I think you were there. He
Yeah.
walked in.
Yeah.
He walked in and it's so amazing because he was my, I think, 8th grade history teacher or English teacher, right? English, worst subject for me as growing up as a kid. So he helped me out a lot. But I was his first, I think, class coming in when he moved to Mansfield, right? Been knowing when he had his son, everything, right? And he's just giving me game at a young age. And again, I'm listening. I'm like, okay, yeah, I appreciate you, the life lessons that he's taught in his classroom, because that was his standard, right? He always held that standard. So when he walks in and I see him, I said, "Yo, what up, point guard?"
I remember that. Yeah.
And that's just, the little inside joke with me and him, because we played basketball and everything. But he said, I remember one of the things that he said, "Man, I always knew you were going to do great. I always knew you were going to be one of them ones." And I was just like coming from him from 8th grade to, I think I ran into him one more time when I was taking my SAT on a Saturday school, because I had to do extra work to help prep for that. He was one of the teachers that said, "Keep going, bro. Keep doing what you're doing." And see him now back again. And that was a blessing.
Wow. So this is what we talk about, a kingdom connection.
Yeah.
That led to a kingdom relationship, because you can go back, I don't know how many years that was.
That was like at least 8.
8 years ago.
Yeah.
That there was just something in him that he felt like, man, I need to just deposit a seed and water that seed in this young man.
Yeah.
Because I believe that there's going to be a kingdom impact. And so
Yeah.
how cool is that to be able to
Yeah.
come on this side, and now you're serving him. So he was serving you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And now you're serving him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Made us play everything.
Wow.
And then the other one, and this one was a crazy one, because this man, Mr. Moore at Coble, he was at Danny Jones at the time when I was there. It's crazy because he knows my whole family, knows everyone. And when he walked in, I'm sitting here like, "Man, you still teaching?" And he said, "Yeah, if I see you, it's time to retire. It's time for me to retire, because I know it's been a long time." But I was like, "Yeah, we just caught up." And and he reminded me of the greatness of being in that time period with our team that we had, and really just, he said, "Man, like, y'all was balling when y'all was doing y'all's thing at Danny Jones, basketball, everything, football, man, I just loved it. I love y'all's time period. And it reminded me of, just seeing the joy and the light up in his face.
Yeah.
Seeing the emotion, and then also, but still having that relationship, for and that respect for him. Because again, it's like all this time has passed and he's still able to remember on that. And then he goes, grabs the Kobo coach. He said, "You know who's in the house?" He said, "Yeah, you know this young man? Him and his squad was going all through MISD at middle school." And I was just like, "Mr. Moore, yeah, I mean, you're right, but
Like years ago. Yeah.
that's years ago."
Yeah.
And the Kobo coach knew who I was. And I was just like, yeah, he's like, "Yeah, I remember y'all's group. Y'all was pretty good. Y'all was pretty good that year."
Wow.
And just to be able to see those connections is a blessing.
Wow. That is, I am so grateful. My alarm keep going off here. So grateful to be able to do that with you, because I was able to some of that and be able to just kind of from a distance, because I had a different kingdom relationship with you in that season.
Yeah.
And so to be able to just watch that was a blessing. Not knowing, because again, we've served the district before at some different schools, and obviously we weren't at you weren't at all the same schools we were before.
Yeah.
But it was cool to be able to just see those teachers that have had an impact on you.
Yeah.
To be able to see you on this side of their investment.
Yeah.
Right. So they got to see the kingdom impact from the kingdom connection from years ago. And again, let's reflect on the Lord. So let's just stop for a second.
Yeah.
That moment doesn't happen if you're in Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
And he's just trying to continue to show you his sovereignty.
Yeah.
His grace.
Yeah.
And his mercy. The things that he's kept you from by bringing you out of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
The things that he's bringing you to by taking you from Oklahoma and bringing you here.
Yeah.
Like, his grace and mercy is very evident from someone on this side knowing the intricate parts of your life, just because we have those times together where we get to have those kingdom conversations.
Yeah.
And not everybody's privy to that. So I have a lot of details, and I'm just like, I hope he see it, Lord. I hope he sees it, because this is due to him being in the heart posture of saying, "Lord, I'm surrendered. I'm going to die to myself. I'm going to do your will.
Yeah.
Lord, let me sit in this secret place so that I can hear your voice,
Yeah.
so that I can continue to steward these kingdom connections that lead to kingdom relationships that have a kingdom impact." Because all of what you've been able to be a part of is not your doing.
No, it's not. It's not about me.
It's not.
It's not about me.
Submitting and surrendering and dying to yourself every day. And that's what we talk about. Like, keeping the kingdom. It ain't just a saying, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
It is a lifestyle. And I'm spoiled, because I get the opportunity to serve with you on Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
Like, this has just been a joy for me. Not every person that has a discipleship model, a mentee mentor relationship, get to walk with someone from childhood through adulthood and be able to have the kingdom connection in the FCA world.
Yeah.
And then at the church level.
Yeah.
Like, we work side by side, where it used to be me pouring down. Now we're working side by side in the marketplace and in the ministry.
Yeah.
So that's why this, even the more for me, is just like, this is a kingdom connection that has really led to a kingdom relationship.
Yeah.
And it's a kingdom impact to where the cities that we service are side by side.
That's very true. That's God right there.
You thought about that?
Like you said that on the last one, man. Don't even start about that, because it's Fort Worth, the coaches that are there, the culture that's there, that you have been part of and you've seen firsthand with Coach Lynn, and seeing how he conducts.
He was in Arlington when I first met him at Seguin.
Yeah.
I used to go speak at Seguin High School. He moves to Cedar Hill. I go to Cedar Hill to go speak over there.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, and I wasn't even a part of FCA. I did this through my nonprofit before FCA.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you that.
No, you did.
It was through my other nonprofit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, and then just to the handoff, and so now he's
starting next week on Tuesday. Starting next week on Tuesday.
God is so good.
Yeah.
It's wild. So wild. Man, this has been a joy. I think this is a good landing place. Let's land here. Um, so let's do this because I always like to give application points. Um, let's speak to. You've already kind of spoken to the secret place, but I
Yeah.
think there's a level of wisdom that you might be able to share with young adults.
Yeah.
Just because it's an interesting season. It's like $1 million to get an apartment. Like a 1-bedroom apartment is like,
Yeah.
I'm exaggerating, but it's expensive, right? Getting into the workplace, it's hard. Sometimes it's do I follow what God is calling me to do, and do I follow the money? Do I follow what I believe God is asking me to trust Him with, which is scary,
Yeah.
or do I go with comfort?
Mm.
Relationships, like there's a lot of so we had to sit down, and not everybody has the relationship that we have,
That's
right?
true,
So
yeah.
so speak to it from maybe from an idea of like if they don't have a mentor that they can wrestle things with, because not everybody's. When we got to talk about the relationship, I had to say some hard things to you, like, man, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
look, yeah, we're not gonna go down that road, but that's a whole nother podcast. But it's hard because as a young adult, you're in that transition season.
Yeah.
You're not in high school anymore where you get to depend completely on parents,
That's very true.
right?
Very true.
And you may not have a job that is paying enough for you to be out on your own, or if you are out on your own, you may not be fully secure in your career
Mm-hmm.
to where you're making enough to where you have the flexibility to not have to work 2 jobs.
Yeah.
There's a lot there, but I believe that there's many could watch this and really be like, man, he just has the perfect life.
No.
Because he's over there serving. He went to state championship with a team. Doesn't look like he ever struggles or goes through anything. For our young adults that may watch this, or even students, and I think this would be good for our teachers to know. Like, this is the thing that just popped in my mind. I'm praying that principals, teachers, administrators, anyone that works for a school district can look at this young man and truly understand that we need you.
Yeah.
We need you because we know that education, man, is critical to
It
one's
is.
future. You're on the front line of helping us that are working in the church to help steward, and the parents. It's a partnership. And we have so many that are just quitting.
Yeah.
Teachers and educators are just throwing in the towel. We need you. I need you to be able to see
The
that
product.
the product of, like, you may not always have them come back to your school district or to come back and say thank you. So we're going to say thank you on his behalf
Yeah.
all across the world. Just know that, like, you're needed, you're important, you matter. You matter to us, you matter to Jesus. And God created you on purpose, with the purpose, and for a purpose. And he deposited something in you that's very unique that not everybody can do. Not everybody can be teachers. Not everybody can be administrators, right? Everyone from the bus driver all the way to the principal to the
Don't forget about the office ladies.
I was just about to say the counselors, right?
Yeah.
Attendants, janitors, police officers that are on campus. Everyone plays a role for the body of Christ. And so, heck, education started with Jesus. God created that. And so we need you
Yeah.
to know that we love you. We're so thankful for you. But without education, there are nonprofits, there are ministries, there are businesses that would not exist today. There are people that are successful business owners that would not be successful business owners, that would not have created the companies they created without education.
That's true.
Facts.
Yeah.
Okay. And so share some inspiration, or maybe just hey, if you didn't hear anything else today, this is what I would encourage you to do.
Man, I think there's 2 people, right? Because you said 2 people. But
2, 20, 30, whatever you need.
the first person is somebody who does not have a mentor, does not have the support, does not have the people around them, the community, all of that. Um, man, seek God, and I say that because I've been at a position in my life where, not saying you were far, you were in a whole different state, community. I had it, but it wasn't necessarily deep. Um, a lot of my relationships were surface level. But the one thing that I did remember is when I sought him and I sought him out, he has helped me along the way to figure out not just my faith, but finances, to figure out the things I got to the next right step, to figure out the things that, man, I'm just struggling on, like working out, different things that young adults we struggle with, finding friends that are good for me, right? And then finding just things that are going to help me grow as a person. Yeah, he has allowed me to see that, and it's because of him that I've been able, or because of him during that season I was in, be able to push to the next season.
That's good.
And the next season's for that person that does have the mentor, that does have the community, the people supporting, all of the right things that the people say to have. It's like, man, you have a choice. You have a choice. And I'm emphasis on this because you have a choice to take your faith in your own hands and take it forward. It is not the people around you to force you to get in your Bible. It's not the people around you to force you to learn about things that you got to learn about as a young adult. And as a young adult in this world that we live in, economy that we live in, having to think about 401ks, having to think about student loans, having to think about rent.
Yeah.
You have to take that in your own hands, but you got a choice. And you are never, and again, I think about this, and I tell all the young adults, at any young adult I cross, is that you are at a place in your life where you are young, but not saying you don't have excuses, but you are young and you're able to take that with you and take that youngness and say, you know what, I'm young and I'm still learning, but I'm able to take this one thing that is free for me, is my faith and that choice to do it. I can go do it.
Yeah, that's good.
Without having to say, okay, I'm gonna wait for somebody or I'm gonna wait for them. You're gonna lose some people along the way. You're gonna gain some people along the way. But at the end of the day is that you have a choice. And if you think you don't have a choice, it's like, man, my situation is too tough. My situation, I'm at a point where it's like I can be set somewhere and it's gonna be forever. That's gonna be my life forever. It's like, no, that's the enemy trying to keep you there.
Right.
But you have a choice to pick yourself up, to follow him. Pick yourself up, to pick up your cross each and every day, and follow him.
Oh, that's so good.
So
that's so good. Well, listen, we got to make a kingdom call to action.
Yeah.
If you were in Fort Worth, anywhere within 7,000 miles, just playing.
That's how big Fort Worth is.
Jalen is servicing that area through FCA.
Yeah.
Arlington Heights to Dunbar to Crowley. He's all over. Listen, students, if you're a student or if you're a parent, you're in that area. This is what I need as we're getting ready to close this. Here's the kingdom call. Get your student to the FCA huddles on their campus.
Yeah.
It is life-changing. People need community. And if you just look at social media, if you look at the news, if you just look at what the world is actually offering, your student probably is desiring something positive. And so here's the kingdom call. Go and look up FCA. You can get his info. It should pop up. If you go to fca.org, you can kind of find the area rep. His info will be there. Or you can go to his social. What's your social?
At Mo Speaks _237.
Okay.
And then the FCA Fort Worth. That's the one. That's 817. That's what we're going to change it to. Or we've been changing, but
817. Hey, listen, like you can find out what, like on there, he has a list of when, the campuses are, when they happen. Yep. So any information you need for a school, parents, and you're trying to get if you're like, man, my student does not have community, they're not connected, they're at a school with 7,000 students, 5,000 students, 2,000 students, 1,000 students, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They have a presence on these campuses and they will feel connected. So reach out there if you are a young adult and you're in the area. Man, there are hundreds of great churches. If you got questions, hit us up. We'll be more than happy to help you get connected to a local church because we believe that that's where the community for you is necessary,
Yeah.
right? And so he's also connected to a lot of churches. If you're a church and you're in the Fort Worth area and you're trying to get connected to FCA, reach out to Jalen, Momo, Mo Speaks, 817, Fort Worth MISD, no, not Fort Worth MISD, Fort Worth FCA page. Go there. We'll put his credentials up. Go connect with him, and he will get you plugged in to the FCA huddles. If you're a youth pastor, senior pastor, and you're like, man, we're just trying to expand our impact, expand our reach. And so that's the call to action. Parents, educators, call to action. Listen, we love you.
Yeah.
If we can be in prayer for you, please let us know.
Yeah.
If he's out on your campus and you just like, man, can you just step in my office and pray for me? Reach out to him. He is available for that. We're here to make these kingdom connections so that we can have a kingdom impact.
Yeah.
'Cause remember, keeping the kingdom isn't just a saying, it's a lifestyle, right? And so, man, thank you again, little bro, for coming on. Man, it's been good. So until next time, sure you'll be back, you know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
God is just doing so many amazing things. But until next time, just remember, kingdom mindset leads to a kingdom connection. Kingdom connection leads to kingdom relationships. And kingdom relationships lead to kingdom impact. If you can get anything today, what is your kingdom identity? What is it? Because your kingdom identity will impact how you see yourself, which is your mindset. And how you see yourself will impact your connections. And how you see yourself will impact your relationships. And how you see yourself will impact your impact. We love you. Until next time, this is your boy, Sylvester Stimley, also known as Sly. I know my identity. It's in Jesus. If you don't know him, if this is your first time hearing about this man named Jesus, Romans 10:9 tells us that if we confess with our mouth that he is Lord and we believe in our hearts that he died and rose from the grave, you will be saved. So it's as easy as just admitting that we're a sinner in need of a Savior. And we believe that he died and rose from the grave, and we will commit to following him for the rest of our life. So if that is you, man, we want to celebrate you today if you want to make that decision. So until next time, hey, we love you. Have a blessed day. We'll see you soon. Peace.